We was kangs and she. We was ethereal and she. We was hackers and she. We rode horses and she. We was kangs again and she. We were kung fu fighting and she. Whoa! Hello internet, welcome back to the channel. So this is not something new that we're going to be talking about today, but a new set is coming out in Magic the Gathering that actually brought this back to my attention because one of my favorite properties of all time, if you did not know, is Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings and she... Sorry, I'll stop doing that. Look guys, I am not racist. I have black friends. I love black people. I love black culture like Kanye West. No, but seriously, okay, I actually don't have any problem at all with including characters. I don't give a fuck what their skin color is. But what I do care about is when you take a legendary property, a timeless piece of art, and change it for your own political narrative. Now, if you didn't know, Wizards of the Coast is the company that controls two of my favorite properties, Magic the Gathering and Dungeons & Dragons. Now, Wizards of the Coast is not the first company to drink the grape-flavored Kool-Aid, as this set was released 3 years ago, and as you know, 3 years ago was certainly a different time. But I stumbled across some old Reddit posts that were talking about this exact topic, and if you didn't hate these woke companies enough, I'm about to add more reasons to your collection, so let's get into it. So I'm going to keep this part brief just so we can get on to the Reddit content, but I thought I'd mention it just so you're aware of how fucking badass Tolkien was and how fucking retarded these people are, and why altering his work just to push your modern political narratives is simply gay and cringe. So he nearly died on the front lines in World War I and started writing the books in 1937 after the success of The Hobbit, and he wrote The Lord of the Rings as essentially a lost history of England because he thought English mythology and folklore had been either erased or fragmented due to wars, Roman occupation, and Scandinavian invasion. And the world of The Lord of the Rings is modeled after Old English and Anglo-Saxon culture, which is why when you start doing race swaps, because you don't actually care about the lore and property, you'll change the race of the sister and forget to change the race of the brother. And keep in mind, even if they made every single character half Korean and half Russian like myself, I would find this equally cringe because I don't need this world to reflect my own image to enjoy it. I want this world to reflect what the author intended. And to those who say they're just reimagining or reinterpreting the work, changing nothing but the race and leaving the character the exact same is not a fucking reinterpretation. The amount of hubris these people have to believe that they can make Tolkien's world better than he made it because they barely graduated college is absolutely laughable, and I hope I never meet these people IRL or I might end up in jail. What sparked the idea of this video was the new TMNT set is coming out in Magic the Gathering, and April O'Neil got leaked, and of course this is her. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this looks almost exactly like the Black Starfire from Teen Titans, if you remember that. But this just further plays into the conspiracy that for whatever reason, Hollywood or the media just wants to replace gingers with black people. And I know you guys have seen this chart before. It floats around the internet every time this happens, and I kind of buy into it, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe we gotta band together and stand up for the gingers in the audience. I know you guys are there. And I'm so sorry this happens to you every time, but let's get to the Lord of the Rings set. So when Wizards of the Coast originally released this set, this is one of the arts that came with it. And I don't know about you guys, but this just looks like D&D. This does not look like Lord of the Rings, and it's not because we can't really tell that any of these characters are actually Lord of the Rings because, well, they look nothing like them, but it just screams generic fantasy. It doesn't scream Tolkien whatsoever. And not only that, they are really lazy with it. Like, this is just a normal wooden shield. They didn't add Thorin, Oakenshield, to it, an iconic character in Lord of the Rings lore. This literally looks like a random D&D party. I can't articulate everything that's wrong about it or why it feels this way, but I know I'm not alone. But like I said, it really does not help that none of these characters actually look like how they're supposed to, or it would have been such an easy thing to just model them after the movies that everybody loves. Well, okay, I won't say that everybody loved it because there's a lot of people who didn't like it and argued that Tolkien probably wouldn't have liked it, but it's still way, way better than this. When anybody thinks of Aragorn, they think of this guy, not this guy. Like, this is a Nigerian prince. This is the guy that messages you over Gmail and asks you to send him money because he's in dire crisis. Even the book describes him as pale. In what world is this guy pale? Especially given the context of where the world is supposed to be taking place, i.e., England, way back in, I forgot exactly what time period, but like the prehistory of England. And when people think of Theoden, they are not thinking about King Ezekiel from The Walking Dead. They are thinking about this guy. Someone even made card art of him that would have been so easy to replicate. This was made by someone who is not getting paid a ridiculous amount of money by Wizards of the Coast. How hard is it to just create a white dude with a white beard? It can be generic, because at least we'll have something memorable to reference. This was just such an easy win that they completely messed up. Like, oh my god, dude. And don't even get me started on Galadriel. Oh my god, dude. Rings of Power fucked this up enough. We don't need to race swap Galadriel or turn her into some warrior. This just does not make any sense at all coming from a yellow man. There was no reason at all to make her brown. Like, she was already a queen in our eyes. You did not need to literally make her a modern day queen, you know what I'm saying? And same thing for Éowyn. This is Éowyn, and this is how they depict her in Magic the Gathering. And this is her brother, and guess what race they chose for her brother? That's right, black. Wait, what? Wait, what? Why is he white, but his sister's completely black? How is his biological sister from Africa? Can anyone explain this to me? I swear, man, there have been theories that they race swapped the characters just in case the set didn't do well, so they could point to all the racists in their community that, you know, had a problem with them changing the work in this way when it was completely and utterly unnecessary. Just make your own properties. You own fucking Dungeons and Dragons. If you want to release another D&D set, just go ahead and do that and put all of the black characters you want in it. And I don't care. In fact, if you do a good job with it, I'll applaud you. Just don't touch something that is completely unnecessary to touch. You could have made so much money, so it's so dumb. There's not even like a corporate or monetary incentive to do this. It is just pure and utter retardation. But anyway, let's see what these Redditors think of this genius creative decision by Wizards of the Coast. So, as you would expect, the primary subreddit for Magic the Gathering really does not like this topic. And if you have an opinion that disagrees with the narrative, you're going to get a lot of pushback, or your post is going to get ratioed in some way. There's other subreddits such as Free Magic here, which I find way more based and a lot more funny when they talk about this, situation. And sure, that is my own biases kicking in, but it's way less censorship. This is just absolute slop. And I am going to demonstrate that for you now, going through some of the comments and looking at a few of the posts on the original Magic the Gathering subreddit. People getting bothered by the new depiction of Aragorn are getting hated on heavily. Like, where else are we supposed to complain? Magic Community L, Hasbro L, and Human Decency L. Edit. I found my answer that I was looking for on the Circle Jerk subreddit. I mean, they expressly said while designing the set that they're not designing it after the movies and only loosely on the books. Why? You bought the property. Why the fuck would you not do that? They said in Vision Design that they were creating characters not directly after the material, but as their own interpretation. And I think we can all agree that Lord of the Rings and Tolkien were far from pillars of diversity, so seeing a perspective that allows for that is welcome. Yeah, clearly not, considering how many people did not like any of these decisions made. This post was a dumpster fire, but I pulled out something worthwhile. I honestly didn't think this would end up in such discussions. I honestly find it pretty cool that they did their own spin on the franchise. Well, I would have found it pretty cool if you weren't born. Okay, sorry, maybe that's a little far, but everyone has their own interpretation while reading a book, so having different interpretations in different media sounds logical, right? This isn't an interpretation though. They didn't make their interpretation based off the book. Because if they did, these characters wouldn't fucking look like the way they do. We're one comment deep and we're already contradicting ourselves. But on the other hand, I can also understand if you grew up with the movies and hope to see the iconic portrayals from the movies on the new cards. This is a bummer. As someone who has autism, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have done the voice at first, and has trouble accepting change, I can absolutely get that view. Hey, I do that voice for a lot of Redditors, alright? It has nothing to do with him being autistic. However, that would never give people the right to just threaten and insult people if they don't share your opinion. And if you have seen what horrible things people have been commenting, you would understand why people are so defensive. Well, tell me what exactly people are commenting, please. What is so horrible? Can we at least get one example? It would be great to just have a civilized talk, but that is sadly not really possible. Yeah, it's because of people like you, okay, I guess not this guy specifically, but it's because of people like Redditors that this discussion is not possible. Take it to r/free magic and you can all circle jerk each other about it. Thanks, actually didn't know that sub exists. And your reply is exactly why I wrote this post. Oh, got him. I don't know why you have to be hostile on somebody else's opinion. Because you disrupted the echo chamber. And then this guy said, because you have a deeply stupid opinion and are a worse person than me for caring about it. I'm not kidding. These are true statements. Holy fuck, guys. It can't get more Reddit tier than this comment right here. This is exactly what I was talking about. We are now dealing with the usual suspects, aka your average Redditor, but here we go. How about not idolizing a fictional character, then you wouldn't have an issue with people giving their own interpretations of a fake character. Again, if you just use your brain for 3 fucking seconds and look at what the books say and then look at the characters, you'll see that there is such a disconnect there that this isn't their own interpretation. This is just the agenda that they're trying to push. We are truly mid-wit maxing at this point. What a stupid fucking comment. Oh, stop caring about a fake character, hardy dar. Go kiss a bus, numb nuts. Find something better to do with your time on a Saturday night than troll month-old posts. Nah, kill yourself. These are the top tier fucking conversations that I go to Reddit for. Every single time, I'm always hoping to get shit like this. It's just too bad you can't do this on the political subs, you know? Oh, so stop caring about what I enjoy? Yeah, good suggestion, bud. Good. No tolerance for racists here. We couldn't go one post without seeing the R word. Great. Try to reason why you're having an issue with black Aragorn, but not with brown-haired Legolas or 4 missing fingers Sauron. See, the thing is that Legolas was actually described to have dark hair in the book, so it's not really a problem that he is. Now, does he look a little more Asian than I would expect him to look? I think so. Maybe I'm schizophrenic. But with the Peter Jackson films, you can see that he really cared about making sure that the story and all the characters tried to stay as true as possible, even if they did change the hair color, which, I mean, it isn't that big of a deal. I mean, it would have been cooler if he was, had brown hair just to be even more accurate, but that is way different than just making a character the complete opposite race, making them look like they're from an entirely different universe. That's really what we have a problem with, like a hair color swap, whatever. And then when this guy gives the most obvious reasonings, you can scroll all the way down here and he just tries dismissing it by saying, be honest with yourself. How much did you really care about Lord of the Rings before this whole controversy? Like, what a disingenuous way to open up a conversation. Fuck you. Arguing that a character is unrecognizable because his race was changed, something that was never key to the character, as opposed to, say, Aragorn being depicted as a dwarf or wielding a lance as his primary weapon, is unmistakably racist, to be honest. It's basically you saying this character has to be white or else they're not real to me. For someone who engages in fantasy media and suspends their disbelief easily enough to accept magic and dragons and the concept of a ring, well, here's the thing. The functions of reality in fantasy is bound to change because it's literally fantasy. But the characters, for the most part, are static beings in this universe, based on their appearance generally, right? Unless they get some like transmutation or something, which didn't happen in this universe. But unless otherwise stated, it is important that the characters remain consistent throughout the universe, just like we're not gonna put robots or some other sci-fi bullshit into this fantasy universe, because then it would make no sense at all. And the demographics within the universe also make more sense. It's not like there's 0 people of color inside the Lord of the Rings universe. Like if, Katniss was a black dude all of the sudden, I think most people and most fans of the Hunger Games would probably have a problem with it. Even though the society itself is completely made up along with the characters. You sure seem to have an issue accepting something as simple and mundane as people of color exist. Ask yourself why. Ah yes, a Redditor asking someone else to reflect upon their own ideas. How ironic. And thank God someone says the obvious. Wasn't Lord of the Rings based on white Europe, so therefore the diversity that was there at the time, so therefore having a black king/queen when almost everyone else except some side tribes is white kinda kills the immersion. No one is saying that black people don't exist. Thank God. Sometimes I think I'm taking the same crazy pills that Asmongold does. Since when was it okay to admit you're racist? 3 upvotes. Ugh. Every single time, man. If a person has a problem with the skin color of a fictional character being changed so that more people can feel included, then they're racist. It goes both ways, right? Like, the characters were the way they were described in the books. Why do you feel the need to change it? You're the one changing the property and saying, why do you care that I'm changing the property? And as you can see, there aren't that many posts about this topic on the OG Magic the Gathering subreddit, but there are a bunch of other posts like talking about the game mechanics or whatever. But I guess we'll look at this one since it's like the only other one, and then we'll go over to free magic and then probably call it a video. But about Aragorn's skin color, I had an inner discussion about this with myself, and it came down to a few things. An MTG artist making the decision to depict him like so is a lot cooler and more acceptable than a Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro higher up demanding they put in a black person to fill in diversity quotas or whatever. This is exactly what happened. But number 2, from the books and lore, we know that Aragorn is a different race already. He is a Numenor, not a human. Why do you say a Numenor? You mean Numenorian? Descendants of mixing between elves and humans, blessed with a longer life and healing hands. Who's to say the Numenor aren't all black? The book? We have a preconception from real life to associate darker skin with geographical placement and more exposure to sunlight, but fantasy is fantasy. The Numenor being black separates them sufficiently from regular Gondorians and would also give the artists an excuse to add more black representatives in the Lord of the Rings sets of the future. In conclusion, give me a Numenor bloodline card depicting Aragorn's ancestors, please. Or, just read the book and cite what the book says. As Frodo drew near, he threw back his hood, showing a shaggy head of dark hair feckled with gray, and in a pale, stern face, a pair of keen gray eyes. Does this word pale not mean anything to you? Like I said, in what world would this guy be described as pale? It's just nonsensical that we have to argue about this. And here we go, this got 10 upvotes. I agree that shit like this is silly, but there are definitely some inequalities that wokeness has been trying to address that actually matters. It's a shame that shit like this distracts from real issues. Don't let any of these people tell you what real issues are, because trying to enjoy the property that you love and preserve a history and folklore, mythology, whatever you want to call it, I think that is a real issue. And by allowing stuff like this and not gatekeeping those who want to push this shit more, it's just gonna ruin the stuff that you love, and life is already hard enough. Stop touching our fucking shit. Lord of the Rings has nothing to do with modern day politics, so stop trying to apply it to it. It's already perfect. It's perfect the way it is. And then this guy says, sometimes I think race swapping just exists so white people can tell other white people how racist they are without needing an excuse to do so. Heaven forbid we allow white people to have a culture. Black people, Latinos, Asian Americans, all people other than whites have a proud culture tied into how they look and act. We're not allowed to have that though, because it's instantly racism if we do. What a world. I hate my ancestors because of them. I'm not allowed to have a culture. That is a wild statement, but this guy said, you do have a culture, it's just not being white. White isn't a culture. Learn where your ancestors originated from, because they were all immigrants at one point. You could be Italian, Polish, Russian, who knows? Do some research and ask your family members. Do you think all black, Asian, Latino ethnicities, etc. all come from the same places? By your logic, being black is not a culture either. Well, and neither is being a gay retard, but I tend to notice a pattern amongst Redditors. And now here, over on Free Magic, this is where we have the real discussions and the important discussions about topics like this. You'll get banned from all other Magic the Gathering Reddits for racism for saying you prefer him to be the other way he is in the books. You should get banned for assuming Aragorn's pronouns. Bro, you can't mock people if you can't even spell pronouns correctly. Mans was probably so giddy with excitement to tell his totally original and hilariously funny joke that he made a simple mistake. Cut him some slack. Bold of you to assume the comment was written by a man. Let's fucking go, dude. This is what Reddit could be, but unfortunately the mods are completely cucked. We was Lord of the Rings and he is literally a king and not the Lord of the Rings. Thank you. We would never have known that if this Redditor didn't step in and tell us. Don't know why you're being downvoted for correcting the racist joke back to its unworthy origin. -27. Let's fucking go. This is all he deserves too. Return of the Kings. It's Aragorn in blackface. Nothing would surprise me out of this set, and unfortunately this comment was made before the set got released, so he didn't even know about all the other ones I showed. Yeah, the guy with the fire sword is our beloved Aragorn, known for using his fire sword. Oh my god, I didn't even fucking notice this. Really? Holy shit, dude, they cucked the set even harder than I thought. I don't know, this Lord of the Rings set might be pretty gay. Black people play Yu-Gi-Oh! This ain't for Magic, bruh. Oh my god, dude, this is the Reddit we could have had. Just nothing but memes and shit posting. Holy fuck, dude. This is a wrong timeline type beat, bro. Magic gave Aragorn the Netflix treatment. Yes, they fucking did. And Galadriel and Theoden. And we'll leave it on this Stop Asian Hate comment. Let's just make them all Chinese. Then we get big money. Social credit score plus 100. Now, I would actually kill to see a fully Chinese set of Lord of the Rings, just to see what the fuck they would cook up, because apparently, at least in gaming, you know, the Chinese have actually been popping off with whatever titles they have. I mean, I don't personally like their games, but they seem to be pretty popular, except for like Black Myth Wukong, that's it. I had to look at the name, sorry. But here's even more art of Aragorn if you needed a close-up for some reason and couldn't tell before. But I am going to leave it on that. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe. I don't take any sponsors, so retards can't tell me what to say or think. And let's get on to the patrons. Thank you so much to all of my base gods, base legends, super based, and base certified members. And thank you to our new base legend, Mark Newcomb. I love you all, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.